Remember, the show is PG-13, so you might hear a naughty word or two.
Gabby Douglas put up a new video of herself. We are going to discuss Pan Am Games concluded, and we have all the details, medals, and the important things like the comedy that occurred. French Federation is coming under fire for failing to pull licenses from abusive coaches. And we have two mini commissions, one on Kristie Phillips and the 88 Olympic trials, and another on Gabby Douglas. Welcome to GymCastic, the #1 gymnastics podcast in the galaxy. It's October 30th. Happy Halloween, everybody! The best holiday in the entire world. So we have a winner from our random draw of Club Gym Nerd members during the month of October. The winner of our full commissioned episode, which you cannot buy anymore. You can only do group commissions. If you want one, you can just buy all the portions of a group commission, which someone did. Thank you very much. So 1.5 hours of us talking about whatever she wants us to, as long as it's tangentially gymnastics related. Victoria H., you are our winner. I am not saying your last name in case you don't want anyone to know. Victoria H., look for an email coming to you today when this episode comes out, and we'll tell you how to commission your episode. I'm so excited for you because you love commissions. We love commissions. It's going to be so fun. All right. The headlines, we have to start with something very important today, which is Battle Cheng.
Okay. Yeah. So we had a Cheng, maybe the Cheng vault occur at the event finals of the Pan Am Games when Rebeca Andrade performed what some are calling, some say, could be the best Cheng that we have ever seen performed. This vault, round off half on, layout 1.5, named after Cheng Fei. Andrade has been doing it for many years. It's always been beautiful. Is this, so first initial hot take, was this the best Cheng we've ever seen that's ever been done?
No.
Whoa.
It's tied with the best Cheng that's ever been done.
Of course you tie. Of course you
Okay, of course I did. But here's the thing. I don't know if it's the best Cheng that's ever been done. I think there's one Cheng that is maybe equal, but I need what skateboarding has for half pipe, where you have a height meter or the SEC network, so I can tell who had more amplitude, because I can't. I think it's Andrade, but I don't know for sure. So I can't tell definitively.
What a cop-out. I'm going to go with yes.
Okay.
I'm going to take the yes on this, that this is the best one we have ever seen. She got a 9.733 execution score, which we'll also talk about. But, so what is the tie then? If you have it tied, what is your tie?
With Cheng Fei, the originator of the vault. Okay. Cheng Fei's 2006 Event Finals. Cheng. That one is... It is... Her legs are perfectly straight, pointed together, pre-flight, on the table, post-flight, doesn't pike down. It's so straight. Her hips are open like she's a pommel horse worker. It's gorgeous.
Do you feel that the landings are comparable?
No, Cheng Fei's was better, I think, because she didn't take... But no, I think Cheng Fei's are better, but do I?
Oh, this is...
I want to take a deduction.
I feel like I've created a real philosophical dilemma and a problem for you that's going to be like persistent for years here.
I want to take a deduction for Andrade for landing with her feet together, because that's bad for your body. But it's deduction less.
Yeah.
It's not a deduction in the code, even though it's not good for you, especially if you want to keep all your ACLs. But yeah. So it's not technically a deduction.
How would you compare this to Simone's Cheng? Because I would say we had a long era where Cheng Fei both originated this vault and was the best one ever to do it. I think there's a solid argument that Simone then became the best person to do a Cheng when she added that vault. And then we have Andrade, who now I think has the best Cheng ever. So how would you compare this to Simone? Because I would say I would put forward that Simone's Cheng from 2016 Rio Olympic qualification was the best one she ever did. I kind of I went through and looked, and I would say that was Simone's best, Chung. So how would you compare that one to what we saw from Andrade?
I don't know how. I mean, it was a different code. It was 2016, so it was a different code. But Simone got a 9.7 e-score on that, and I would say that's way too high. All the e-scores are way too high except for Andrade, because she has her legs are crossed, her feet are crossed, and her legs are apart. So there, I mean, it's still top 3 best chungs that's ever been done. Her amplitude is great. Her landing is great. All of that is great. Her distance is insane. I honestly feel like they need to add a spotter at the end of podium for when Simone does her chunk. She jets herself.
One of these days she's going to go off.
Yeah, she is. But anywho, Andrade's e-score should be way differentiated from Simone's e-score when we're talking about that 2016 one. I mean, Simone still has leg stuff on her chunk, but otherwise it's beautiful. But it's not perfect. It's not a 9. Couldn't get a 9.7 on any other event with that form.
You couldn't get a 9.7 on any other event.
Period.
You could be a miracle.
Yeah.
You could just be a glowing orb of glory and stars, and you would still not get a 9.7 e-score. Okay, so several other things I want to talk about in the Chung department. So, do you think Andrade's vault that she did should be a 10 e-score? Because this was what Kyle Schufelt put forward.
Yep. Yes.
Elaborate, please.
Like Michaela Maroney's team final vault in 2012, it's the best it has ever been done. I mean, now that I'm thinking about, Chung Fei didn't get the amplitude that Andrade did, and probably ever will be.
Oh my God, you are going to have 9 different answers by the time we finish the show. And then you're going to come back and have to do an emergency behind the scenes on Friday. And you'll be like, you guys, I watched 10 more Chungs and I have completely different opinions.
I need the data. Fujitsu,
Mm-hmm.
give me the data really, and then I can decide.
It's really good, yeah.
But like Michaela Maroney's vault at that Olympics, it should have been a 10. Mm-hmm. So Andrade's Chung should have been a 10. Like when you see it and you're like, that was perfect.
But so you don't have a deduction. Well, okay, so several questions. Is this the best a human could do this vault?
I'm going to pause. Okay, it's not technically the best it could possibly be done because she does pike down a tiny bit. So I'll at least give her a 9.95.
That's not a possible deduction in the elite code of points.
I know, but that they should have that deduction.
All right, well, so...
But is it the best it'll probably ever be done? Yes.
What you're telling me is you're changing your answer. From
yes.
This should have gotten a 10, so now you're saying it should not have gotten a 10. Well, like, if the judges in this meet using the code that they have, because as we've talked about before, they don't have like a leeway to score routines how they'd like to. The actual job is to apply the code of points that you're given. Would they be doing their job if they had given this a 10?
No, because basically if you breathe, you need 3/10 off, and that's what they did.
That's what my contention is that like they would have not have been doing their job in giving this a 10 because there are deductions in the code of points. I think the broader and maybe more fun question is, conceptually, do you want to live in a world where the rules say this isn't a 10?
Yes. We all want to live in a world where you
want to live in a world where this is a 10.
We don't want to live in a world where this is a 9.733. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the problem with the code, I think. If it's like, you've never seen this done. I mean, are we ever going to have a 10? We should. People can do skills absolutely perfectly. They can do routines absolutely perfectly. But I don't know there's any way in this code, the way when you breathe, you can't get a 10. That's a rib position deduction.
Again, not having really a rib stop breathing. God, these gymnasts, when will they learn breathing? You can't do it. So I think I disagree. I think you have to allow room for the possibility that Andrade will show up next year and do this vault this exact same way and not pike down that little bit and have perfect direction and stick it. Because this is not absolutely free of deduction, and therefore you need to allow room for the possibility that someone is going to do, someone maybe Andrade herself is going to do this even better than this. And I think you also have to allow for the possibility that people will come along in the future in gymnastics who are better than you could have imagined someone was going to be, because they're named, that has happened. She's named Simone Biles.
Yeah.
And she's better than you would have thought someone could be at gymnastics based on what you had seen before. So you always have to leave open the possibility that someone's going to come along in 10 years and will be like, Simone who? This is the best person we've ever seen at gymnastics now.
And I think, like, basically if Andrade had Cheng Fei's lawn dart landing, people don't know what a lawn dart, theirs are illegal now, right? Lawn darts.
I feel like it's self-explanatory.
Okay, a lawn dart. Yeah, they're terrifying. Have you ever seen a lawn dart? Would you ever experience someone throwing a lawn dart in the air?
No.
Yeah, I have. My cousin's friend threw lawn darts in the air and then was like, okay, run. Literally trying to murder us. Anyway, guys, I've never gotten over it. But Cheng Fei, perfect lawn dart landing, no pike. And that's what Andrade needs. And then if she does that, they have to give her a 10. So everyone manifest it now. Paris Olympics, lawn dart landing for Andrade gets the first 10 of the modern era of the new code, of the dual judging. What do we call this code? The two-part
open-ended code?
The open code. That's boring. All right. Speaking of, let's talk about some other Pan Am event finals besides Andrade being spectacular.
There were other things that happened in the event finals. There were other things that happened in the vault event final because Franchesca Santi really delivered at her home event. Like, if you're not going to be Andrade, what we're looking for is almost Purvising the judges, meaning that time Daniel Purvis dismounted onto the judges. It nearly happened again. And it was almost amazing. It was almost perfect.
She basically fell sideways, bounced on her butt, and then skidded towards the judges' tables and sort of skidded halfway into a laptop and almost fell over, but didn't. That is the cat-like reflexes of a gymnast.
Well, I mean, it was a fall.
It was a fall
off the podium.
She didn't fall off the podium onto the laptop, onto the judges' table. She didn't.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give her credit for that. Yeah. Well done.
But I feel like I loved how much the Chilean athletes were embracing the experience of being at this meet, and they were having a ball, fall or not. They were just like, "This is great. I'm having an amazing time. This is fun. This is funny. This is a silly meet, and we don't get to do this a lot. Compete in front of a big crowd in our home country, and that's really cool."
The other important thing that happened is Zoe Miller may have solidified herself as the best bar worker who's never made a world team with this win.
Yes, Zoe Miller won the bars title, which now means she went 11 for 12 on bars this year with a high difficulty routine, which is a great way of proving consistency, because I think she had that one miss at a very critical time, the first day of US Nationals. That was the one that she missed this year. And I think that we were talking about, like, you know, it's already extremely difficult, maybe impossible for someone who has not a one event gymnast, but someone who has one team final level score to make a world's team the way teams are being selected in the US right now. And that fall on the first day of nationals was really, really tough for her chances because, you know, what she has is one event to go off of. But I would say, taking the year as a whole, she has more than proven that she is a consistent bars worker, that she can hit that routine, that you could rely on that routine to be hit. She's hit 11 out of 12.
Are they ever going to take, this iteration of USA Gymnastics Selection Committee ever going to take someone who's not ranked in the all-around? And I say no, because somehow it's their knee-jerk reaction to thinking that not taking people in rank all-around order is somehow not being fair, or being like, you won't want us to take, you think if we're not taking rank order, we're cheating? Fine then. We're never going out of rank all-around order again. which is just, it's not the high, don't get the highest scoring team that way. So I don't think they're going to do it because they're just being reactionary towards an unreasonable public sentiment that is wrong.
Yes, I would agree. I agree. I don't see a situation where someone who's contributing one event to the team score but isn't placing in the all-around makes the Olympic team, which is why if I'm Laurent and Cecile right now, I'm pushing for a clarity on what is the pathway for an athlete to make the Olympic team if they're not placing top 5 in the all-around at Olympic trials.
Yes.
What is like, because honestly, like if you're Zoe Miller, you probably like, it would be reasonable to feel like, why am I even like, why am I pushing to do, Olympic trials, go for the Olympic team if you are not even going to legitimately consider someone with my skill set
right
as an asset for the team. So I would want some kind of like, put it in writing how does a one event person make this team? If Zoe Miller shows up to Olympic trials and only does bars and beam and gets like, a 14.9 on bars, is there a pathway for her? Or is it just not even worth it to go?
Right. I agree. And is there a pathway where she is an alternate in case their best bars person who's an all-arounder is, they need that person? Is that a scenario that's realistic? Okay, we have another moment of comedy because she's fine. So it's a moment of comedy.
That's the classic gymnastics rule.
Yes.
It's scary until you're fine, and then it's fine.
And then it's hilarious. So Jordan Chiles did a piked Jaeger, which we've seen her do for a million years perfectly. But this time she decided to add some comedy, and she did a butt bounce on top of the bar to almost catch in like cut catch position, like a pike in bar stalder position, but then just whoosh, bounced right off onto her back. Luckily, she's fine. Finished her routine just fine. I think she was more pissed off than anything else, but it was funny. It was maybe it was an homage to Mary Lou Retton, who did a Jaeger from belly beat when you wrap your hips around the bar, and then she would in between the bars would belly beat, then arch and land, instead of catching the Jaeger, would land sitting in pike position on top of the high bar. That was a thing back in the day that looked really cool. And so maybe
an
she
intentional
was like,
skill.
Get well soon, Mary Lou Retton. Here's a homage. But I'm going to make it funnier because comedy is more important by landing on the ground. Beam.
The controversy was what we want to talk about on
Yes.
Beam. Because Andrade, also she won the vault title. I feel like that was implied. But with our discussion of that, she won the vault title. Also won the beam title. But here was the thing. She almost fell on her switch ring.
See, I told you. I'm behind the scenes.
You were right. You were right.
That's right.
I'm like, I think I maybe missed that routine.
Fine, it's okay.
I was thinking about her one earlier in the competition, but anyway,
this is why we're good teams. Sometimes I remember things that you don't. It's all right. I'm here for you.
So she won the gold medal with this beam routine compared to a Flavia Saraiva routine in the silver medal position without a major error. And I wanted to know what you thought about that.
Yeah, I am confused by this as well. I thought that was enough of a almost fall that it would not happen. So,
and it was because of difficulty score. Like Flavia had a much higher execution score. Andrade had a 4/10 difficulty score advantage, which is what carried her to the gold. So for me, it's one of those things where like, yeah, it makes sense. It's just unsatisfying because the eye test says Flavia had the stronger beam routine that day.
Right. Yeah.
But I mean, that's also the case I felt like for bronze in that final with Ava Stewart, who had some wobbles, got bronze, but a routine that was so much more difficult than Kayla DiCello, who did, I think, her best beam routine of the year in that event final. It was a really, really nice routine, but didn't have the difficulty. But if you were asking which one you want to watch again, DiCello's was smoother, cleaner, more confident routine.
Yeah. Although I do enjoy Ava Stewart's beam too.
Oh, I do too.
Yes.
And we gave her the ROV award last week because she's doing like, back handspring, back tuck fall.
Yeah. Okay, and then, most importantly, we talked about this on behind the scenes, but Kaliya Lincoln dominated floor.
Dominated floor.
Dominated
As we all knew
floor.
she would.
Yeah. If she had done, and I talked to her dad, he was at work in San Francisco in the firehouse. The whole firehouse was watching this routine, all cheering for her. Like, I love that. I love that visual. So, where would she have placed with this routine? She had a mistake. It was not a perfect routine. She missed a leap, which was super weird. She didn't totally miss it. She just didn't go over split, which she normally does. She would have got deduction.
She performed it like split. Most gymnasts perform.
Right. Like a muggle, But, she will get an incomplete split deduction on that. But where would she have placed at Worlds with this routine?
Oh, well, this score definitely would have been bronze medal at Worlds. We only saw Simone and Andrade beat a routine of this level. And, you're comparing competitions, different judging panels, all of that, yada, yada, yada. But yeah, I think, visually, quality-wise, if she had done that in the Worlds event final, that's a bronze medal. Yeah,
no one else got a 14 except Simone and Andrade. So Flavia wouldn't have gotten that, except Flavia only got a 13.9.
Maybe that was why Kaliya Lincoln wasn't on the Worlds team.
Yeah.
Now we understand the true foresight of the U.S. women's program.
It was. What's Flavia...
most important is that Flavia absolutely needs an individual medal at Worlds. So, Kaliya will go to Pan Ams and get a 14.233.
Overall at Pan Ams, where do you think this leaves, like how DiCello did and how Kaliya Lincoln did and how Zoe did? What do you think that it says for them, for the U.S. team, for the future?
I think they had good competitions, and it's encouraging for them going forward to next year. Is there more than that? They did well, but it doesn't necessarily tell us anything about what's going to happen next year other than, I think that DiCello definitely had a better competition, has looked better and better, like better than nationals. She had good podium training at Worlds, even though she was the alternate, but she was training very well at Worlds and looked really good in training before she came home. And now she has continued that quality at Pan Ams. So it bodes well for her potential all-around scores in 2024, certainly.
Yeah. DiCello, I'm shocked that she held up for all those podium trainings.
She was doing so much more gymnastics than everyone else.
So much
Worlds.
more.
She was like, I am the traveling alternate. I'm not going to compete, so I'm going to get all of it in right now.
So many routines on the hard surfaces, and somehow she's still, like, her body held up for then competing and doing the same thing in Chile. So I just hope she whoever, like, was her medical staff for both of these meets, just take them home with you. Is what I'm saying. Like, whatever they're doing is working, or roll out of all of your landings from here on out. Just save yourself. Because it's amazing that she's coming out of this looking so healthy. So, yeah.
And she has elected to defer next season at Florida. So she's not going to compete the 2024 season at Florida. So maybe that's part of the plan. Like, well, I'm not going to be competing every week in January.
Right. God, please. All right.
Meanwhile, Leanne's like, sign me up. Because I am Leanne.
All the meets.
Club Gym Nerd. Get discounts and first dibs on live show tickets, and extra podcasts every week, athlete dossiers, code guides, commission your own segments of the show. It also makes a great gift. Check it out at GymCastic.com at the Join the Club tab.
Gabby Douglas, mini commission.
Yes. Yeah.
Will you introduce this mini commission?
Yes, so this is mini commissioned by Beth, who is a Club Gym Nerd member, and Club Gym Nerd members are how we can do this. They sustain our work throughout the year and all of the expenses of traveling to the things and doing the coverage. And in return, they get perks, discounts, early access to tickets like live events, which will happen presumably some more in 2024, because it's kind of a big year in gymnastics. So Beth says, I heard that Gabby Douglas is back in the gym to attempt another Olympic qualification. Do you know anything about this? Oh, do we?
Do we? Let us begin. Okay, so let's just go back to cover what a superstar queen Gabby Douglas is. So, number one, Gabby Douglas, 2012 Olympic champion all around and team. And then she came back from 2016, made the team, and won gold with the team as well. So she would be 28 in Paris, so still very young, no problem, because we know that 50 is maybe the ceiling now, but probably not. As we've established, Chuso has no age, so it doesn't matter. So we broke this news first in October of 2022 that Gabby Douglas was back training, just training, nothing else. And then she finally went public with her comeback in July 2023. And she said on social, in part, this is her statement, which you'll obviously read so I don't mess it up, Spencer.
I will read it. For many years, I've had an ache in my heart, but I didn't want to keep carrying anger, pain, sadness, or regret. And through my tears and hurt, I found peace. I wanted to find the joy again for the sport that I absolutely love doing.
So she tried out a few gyms and finally settled on Valeri Woga. And she's put up a lot of videos, TikToks especially, of her and her teammates being adorable and cute training over there. What I'm really hoping is that she's keeping her floor and beam routine from when Damon was there at Woga. He's not anymore. Damon is the coach who choreographed for Egypt, Netherlands, Austria, most recently, just coached Romania back to their first Olympics as a team since 2012. Great choreographer. He was in Cats. Damon, you'll know from the Celine Van Kerner Cats makeup that was then immediately banned because we can't have nice things in gymnastics. But yeah, that Damon. So I'm so hoping that we get to see, because we know she can dance. Just like, we saw that Nastia can dance on Dancing with the Stars. We saw that Simone can dance on Dancing with the Stars. And then everybody comes back to gymnastics and they don't dance. So I'm really hoping we see something really special and different from her with those routines. So so far as we know from her socials, this is what's happening. And she posted today herself doing a standing full on beam that looked great. And she didn't say anything about competing it. She was like, "Oh, I always love a standing full."
Who doesn't?
Me too. I do it on the curb every day.
I love doing a standing full, but I do love watching her standing full because it's so good.
Yeah.
Like, I remember first seeing her do the standing full on beam where you were like, "Oh yeah, you can do it with your chest that high. You can complete it this early and land this well." It's not like, I think the talk before that was like, "Oh, well, the deductions shouldn't be applied for low chest position and things because it's so hard. You have to have some leeway." And then Gabby's like, "No, you actually don't. You can land with your chest up and you can complete it early. And this is how it should be."
You're welcome. Basically is what she should say. I also love that she's just been training in basketball shorts and whatever. There seems to be no pressure for her to do anything gymnasticsy except for the gymnastics, which I also really appreciate.
Yeah.
Okay, so the significance of this. Spencer, I'm going to quiz you. Don't look at the notes.
Okay. Don't look at the notes I made.
Yes. And then I went back and looked at your giant fact sheet that you made for us. And then I pulled out these things. So I'm going to see if you remember them right now. Okay. So the significance of this. When is the last time an Olympic champion returned to an Olympics after missing one?
That has never happened.
That's correct. Good
Thank
job.
you.
When is the last time an Olympic all-around champion returned 12 years and 3 quads after their Olympic win? All-around champion.
That has never happened.
Correct. So if
three quads, yeah.
Yeah, if Gabby does this, it would be the first time it's ever happened. So if Gabby makes the Olympic team, or Simone makes the Olympic team,
okay,
what will they be the first in history to do as Olympic all-around champions?
Return to an Olympics after not winning an all-around title at a previous Olympics that you competed.
Yes, that is correct.
So no one's ever so you've had people win the Olympic all-around title, then they come back at the next Olympics and don't win the all-around title, then they're like, "I'm quit. I'm done."
Right.
No one's ever persisted to continue even after the Olympic where they didn't win.
And if Gabby and Simone or Suni If all or two of them make this Olympic team, when is the last time two Olympic champions were on the same team?
That would be the first time.
Never happened before.
Never happened before.
And there's 3 in one country who could do it. That's how it's started. Just make the team. Oh my God. How many?
Do you have more questions for me?
How many Americans? Yeah. How many women American women have made 3 Olympic teams?
Very few. It has happened. But not for a long time.
You know one off the top of your head.
Dawes.
And 2 others have done it.
Okay.
So it's been a long time.
But are they like olden times? Like
they're like Buffon days.
Yeah.
Mariel Grossfeld, maybe? I can't remember the other two.
Yeah, maybe Mariel Grossfeld.
Yeah. And someone else. But they're not modern era gymnastics. Dawes would be the one. All right. So that was the quiz portion of the mini commission.
Thank you. There's always should be a quiz portion.
Yeah. So there should be. So what have I heard lately? Like, we didn't hear a lot, which was I kind of appreciate that she's like, it's championships, it's world championships. Like, I don't want to, take anything away from the gymnasts that are competing, let them do their thing. And now she's posting a little more on social media. And we've seen beautiful skills. I mean, there's nothing that she's put out, obviously, that looks at her gymnastics looks exactly the same. Exactly the same. We haven't seen anything on floor from her, mostly beam and bars, but you couldn't tell the difference between 2012 and what she's doing now.
Ooh, what if she blew up the whole thing by being coming back as a bars and beam specialist? Just be like, what's your selection process now? I'm gonna have a 7 OD score on bars and beam and deal with that.
Oh my God, she totally could.
Be great.
Too. She so could. Oh, that's so interesting. I'm very excited.
She and Scooney both did that.
Which
the world would explode.
Oh my God.
Explosions.
What would you do if you have the same highest ranking score, like the highest scoring team, one has two event specialists on it?
What would I do?
Yes.
Oh, highest scoring team. I don't care. Event specialist, team. Sure. Yeah.
I feel like you need someone. That's what alternates are for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take a risk. Every team is a risk. There's a risk on any team you select. It just matters whether you care if there's a risk or not.
How do Gabby's D scores from 2016 compare to the current code?
Yeah, so if you do her 2016 routines, but apply them to the current code, because there's been some changes, they hold, like, her intended composition holds up very well. So her total D score would be right on with what, like, if you give her credit for everything. Like, you got every connection, you got every skill. It's right on with what Chiles is doing, like very similar total difficulty score. So it would rank second in the US behind Simone in terms of her composition. So her routines, like her skills, definitely hold up. You would reconstruct routines a lot because, the code is different. You like beam, it's like, I'm kind of like, start from scratch. Use your skills. You have great skills, but some of this stuff is
composition's got to be
getting
changed,
credit or changing. But yeah, she's right there. Also, I was going back and watching her 2016 routines. I was like, was she doing 4 tumbling passes? I don't think we ever really talked about this.
No,
or I don't remember talking about it at the time, but I'm like, you need to be doing 3 tumbling passes. She is so good at turns and leaps.
Yes.
And she has a lot of them at her floor. I'm like, oh, get rid of that double pike. Just scratch it. It's not helping you.
And 3 passes will be so easy for her.
I'm like, oh yeah, there's definitely a like double Arabian to jump, full in, double tuck, and then, double L turn, double Y turn, split leap full, switch ring full, all of those. Like,
exactly. Just do them and then look at the judges like, you're welcome. You didn't have to push any deduction button. So basically the latest, I mean, there's some debate, like, will she, and by debate, I mean us talking about this, should she just wait and just go to Classic? Or should she come and compete at the Winter Cup this year, try to get some international assignments, maybe go to a World Cup, one of these Olympic qualifiers, which she can't qualify to the Olympics, but because the team is already qualified, but just to get that see what her scores are internationally, feel what it likes to travel and do that stuff again? Or should she be like, I'm gonna lay in bubble wrap and, just make sure my routine fitness is ready until I have to compete the absolute minimum to make the team, and do it that direction, which she could do if she competes at Winter Cup.
She could just go to an elite qualifier.
And you don't have to.
She does not have to do elite compulsories again, but she'd have to get a score to qualify to nationals.
Yeah. I think she is going to have to go to camp just to be like, yes, I'm here, even though you shouldn't. And that's so dumb. You should be able to just show up and get your scores. But I think the expectation is, for some reason, they want you to go to camp now.
Clearly, we learned they are intentionally making it very hard if you didn't go. Like, Suni had to hit at that meet to get her score, kind of thing. But you could go to, like, Woga's elite qualifier, get your score to qualify to Classic, and then go to Classic and get your score to qualify to Nationals, go to Nationals and get your score to qualify to Trials, be named to the team. You could go without going to camp, but they want to make it hard so that you have to be part of the system.
Yeah. Which I don't like. I want her to go to one of these. We're making this way longer than we normally make a mini commission, but it's
what else are we going to talk about?
Just like, okay. So the thing is, like, I feel that I can see them. I don't know if they have. I mean, obviously, I don't think they have anyone scheduled to go to World Cups because there's no advantage to going to the World Cups other than international experience and the ability to make money. But for the U.S. team, because the U.S. team's already qualified, so no one can get any advantage from going to the World Cups. But I can see the argument from the national team being like, well, we're going to reward people who have, been here, been doing this gymnastics, showing up to camp by giving them assignments to this stuff, and not Gabby, who's just coming back. And I'm like, no, it should be the best gymnast, period. Unless you have someone that you're like developing for the next, who's a junior, who you want to move up, like the Simone Roses of the world kind of thing, then I can see that. But yeah, I'm like, you should have a meet, and then the person that wins that gets that assignment.
Or have a series of meets, and then you have more scores to go off of.
There you go. Like, or I mean, you can have two competitions at camp, make them public, obviously, and all the scores public, and do it that way.
So I will say, at least on the USAG's tentative 2024 calendar for the women's program, they do have the Apparatus World Cups listed. That doesn't mean they're necessarily going to send anyone, but those are on USAG's calendar, which maybe means they're open to the possibility of sending people to at least a couple. Doha and Baku are on the USAG.
I'm sure Doha's like, they just send you back in a bucket of diamonds after you compete there. Same with Baku.
It's a possibility that they will send some people.
Yeah. I mean, I can see them sending kind of maybe like a Kaliya Lincoln. It's one of those to be like, you're doing really well. We want to see how you do in the all around at one of these meets. Okay.
Well, I mean, they also usually will send someone to, the meet, send a team to the meet in Stuttgart and all of that stuff. So
yeah,
that's kind of, if you want to see someone in the all around, that's more than the Apparatus World Cups if for someone who doesn't necessarily have two vaults.
Yeah. But Apparatus World Cups are obviously the best ones.
The more fun.
Right. So it's they're going to be insane. Can you imagine what high bar is going to be like? Crazy.
Oh, they're going to be flopping all over the place.
Oh my God.
People are going to be going for more casinos than they know what to do with.
It's going to be nuts. Anyway.
If you don't want to bother with the whole joining Club Gym Nerd thing, you can just give us money. Check out the no strings attached donate button at the bottom of the Join the Club page at gymcastic.com/club.
Next mini mission is from Club Gym Nerd member Jay. And we are going to be talking about Kristie Phillips, the 1988 Olympic team trials, which was dramatic. So thank you so much for this commission, Jay. We appreciate it. So Jay said, I would love you guys to talk about the 88 Olympics and leaving Kristie Phillips off that team.
I would love to talk about it too. Definitely
let's talk
like
about
top 5 conversation topic.
Forever.
This is like to Jessica what Vera Cheslavska bowing her head at the Mexico City Olympics is. Leaving Kristie Phillips off the 88 Olympic team and leaving Vanessa Atler off the 2000 Olympic team are my that. I would talk about it every day.
Were you alive for this Sports Illustrated cover?
What year?
Do you remember this?
No, we don't remember it. Had I been born yet? I can't tell because I can't see the date.
This is in '86.
Oh, I had just been born.
Oh my God. I remember
brand
this
new.
Sports Illustrated cover. The new Mary Lou. Oh my God. And I even remember thinking at the time, is that okay to put her in comparison? But I remember being like, Kristie Phillips is the greatest thing ever. Oh my God. She's still such an incredible performer, as you've seen from the Pagoo dancing judges montages that we have, the Pan American Gymnastics Union. Kristie Phillips, of course, a brevet judge now. But let's go back in time for a minute. Okay. So Kristie Phillips, heir apparent to Mary Lou Retton. Mary Lou Retton, of course, there was huge. She won the Soviet boycotted '84 Olympics, and they were in the United States, and it was like Mary Lou mania. She was on everything. She was selling you cereal. She was in Christmas specials. She was everywhere. And so, of course, it was huge, and everyone was like, who's the next one? So Kristie Phillips from Louisiana, from Baton Rouge, she moved away from home when she was 8. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
8 to Vaney. I forget Vaney's last names, but was coached by Vaney. She was an American Cup winner as a junior, which was a Marta Caroli trick for who's going to be the next world or Olympic champion. You put that junior in, and then they beat the seniors, which she did with Gabby and
Jordan Weber.
And Jordan Weber. Yeah.
American Cup as a junior.
She was the 1987 national champion. And the biggest thing, I feel like in the 80s, like talking about eating disorders was so big and it was so prominent. Like all the little teen magazines talked about it and everybody knew about eating disorders. I feel like every after school special was about eating disorders back then. Despite all of this, Sports Illustrated listed her weight in the profile, where they also called her a nymph in braces. Totally appropriate. It's fine.
In keeping with those 1988 broadcasts, which, like, of the Olympics and Olympic trials, I think may be the grossest.
Yeah. Wasn't there in the 88 Olympic trials, wasn't there like a special on like a little, they did like instead of a fluff piece, they did a piece on eating disorders, and they went right back to Al Troutwig talking about like disgustingly.
I don't know if it was Troutwig in those days, but yeah, they would be like, here is a slender, beautiful young girl of 14. And you're like, oh,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. We actually have, just to mention this for a second, I wanted to mention that we actually have, going back to the Gabby Douglas mini commission for a second, we have a full, there's a show that she and her family did leading up to 2016 Olympics called Douglas Family Gold. And we have an entire podcast series called Douglas Family Gold, which you can find on any podcast player. And you can listen to the whole series. And then we have some different hosts on there. We did it every week. And it's, yeah, I had a lot of feelings about that show. And also it was hilarious because it was a reality show. So you guys can listen to that. And we also have an episode all about the 1988 Olympics. There's a commission on that. And we also have a commission on Olympic controversies. So I will link all of this in the show notes so you guys can listen to these if you want to. So back to Kristie Phillips.
Yes.
And the 1988.
One of our greatest performers.
Yes. Seriously.
In the history of gymnastics.
In the history of gymnastics. Like, there's a reason she kept doing exhibitions on TV, you know, for years and years and years, because she would steal the show. She's such a great performer. Like, she got it. And
yes, and the thing that always has made me really mad in one of those, like, Reese's Cup performance exhibitions, Tim makes some comment like, sometimes I feel like Kristie doesn't really get it. And I'm like, no. Kristie is the only one who gets it because she is doing a Vietnam War themed bars routine right now. She got it. No one else got it.
No one else
She's
got
the
it.
Only one who understood the assignment.
Yeah. And one of the reasons that she said she was so good at that is because she started, her mom, who played football in high school, by the way, her mom put her in pageants as a kid. So she grew up understanding, showing the judges and the audience a performance. So she also called her mom, what did she call her mom? There's an Olympic Channel interview with her, and she says, yeah, I had the original Dance Mom's mom. So I started off in pageants and then moved away from home at 8. So 88 Olympic trials going in. Kristie Phillips had been the national champion the year before, and then she was 9th at nationals. So she's already going in a deficit for the Olympic team. 2 trials. The TV coverage mainly focused on mustache macho mania. Is that what we would call it? Like male coaches being gross?
Yeah, it's rough. It's really rough.
It's disgusting. But the other main thing they focused on was Kristie Phillips growing like a normal human being, having a growth spurt, going through puberty, being normal for her age, and also being able to do incredible elite gymnastics. But they didn't frame it like that. They framed it as an absolute negative that was going to kill all of her dreams that she'd sacrificed for all of her life for. And it was disgusting. So to understand
1988 and everything was going great.
Right. Everything was fine. Everyone was really understanding how these little, what do we call it now? We have a word for this now. It's called microaggressions. These little microaggressions about body image and weight, now you know that this can contribute to a larger picture of to eating disorders and all the other things. But at the time, they were like, no. Let's not take responsibility for anything we say. So to understand what happened at Olympic trials, we have to talk about how the Olympic team scoring worked and about how the scores were weighted. So think of the current men's system giving weighting difficulty. They did that for compulsories, but there's a reason they did it, and it has to do with how the Olympics worked. So, Spencer.
Well, there's an alleged reason. The reason they weighted 60% compulsories, 40% optional. So that's how the scores were. It was your total score for the all-around for Olympic trials and nationals purposes wasn't just the scores you got. Compulsories counted for 60%, optionals counted for 40%. They intentionally wanted to put an emphasis on the compulsory numbers because when you get to the Olympics, only the top 4 teams from compulsories make the final session for optionals. And since it was the 80s, obviously they were like, no one who isn't in the final session is going to get any scores. They're going to save all of the scores for the teams in the final session, more or less. It was an accurate assessment of the situation of 1980s gymnastics scoring because it was all insane. Yeah. So basically that's why they put an emphasis on the compulsories, because they wanted the US to get stronger and stronger in compulsories so that they could score well there. They could place in the top 4 teams going into optionals. They had a shot at a medal. That's why they did it. Nonetheless, it is still picking an Olympic team based on a scoring system that is not used at the Olympics, which is the competition you're picking a team for. And I have problems with that.
Yeah. I just want to re-emphasize this for a second. So even though at the Olympics, the final team score was
compulsories plus optionals.
Compulsories plus optionals it was 5 up. It was 6 up, 5 count. So, and you just combine the scores. They were not picking a team that way at the Olympic trials. So the order that they ended up picking the team by was rank order, which was the very last time that would happen until 2021 during the was 21 Tom? Oh, he was still there. The Tom Forster era of knee-jerk reaction.
Oh, he was still there.
So he was very there in 2021. Knee-jerk reaction to not understanding how an Olympic team should be picked by highest scoring team rather than rank order. But that's not a comment on the team that they chose. I'm just saying that's not how you should pick a team. It's not how Marta picked teams. Which
is not the example we should use.
That's what I'm going to caveat right now. I'm not putting her up as the example of how you should coach gymnastics, but she was very good at picking teams that would win. And had high scores. So 2 things can be true at once. You can be a terrible child abuser and also confirmed actually by all the documents from Romania. So where did Kristie Phillips end up? She ended up in 8th place.
Yes.
And back then, the team was...
6-member team, and then Rhonda was the alternate, which very famously the alternate because of the team 0.5 deduction for standing on the podium. And then Kristie Phillips was next in the rankings.
And Kristie Phillips
but should have been on the team.
She actually said in that Olympic Channel interview that she didn't know for sure that she was the non-traveling alternate until the team left and she didn't go with them, which echoes the sentiment. Like she said, she literally didn't, and it wasn't confirmed to her until 2016 when she was driving to Olympic trials. And they were like, USAG or someone told her, yes, you are an Olympian. You are the alternate. We consider you an Olympian. And she said that she had this total visceral reaction, like crying, you know, driving to Olympic trials because no one had explained this. No one had confirmed to her, like there was nothing. And I feel like that was the sentiment that's echoed by so many gymnasts of her generation through the 2000s who have said, like, no one told us anything. You never knew if you're on the team or not. Like you were always kept in the suspense of like, you never know. And that's how they wanted you to feel, or that's how they felt they wanted you to feel. So you're always worried and always trying your hardest. And you never felt comfortable. So Kristie Phillips, her final scores, which by the way, her routines are fantastic. She is amazing. Like watching her routines back, I'm like, oh my God.
Almost like you would have loved to have her beam routine on an Olympic team or something. Just throwing that out there.
Watching her floor, I was like, how could people say? I mean, I looked at Greg Marsden's comments about her afterwards. And I think it was the New York Times that I linked to this interview with him. And he was like, yeah, she just wasn't in shape. She wasn't ready. She was not. And I was like, did you watch her routines? She looked incredible. Her gymnastics was incredible. Great form, great execution, great performance. Phillips have placed if the scores were unweighted, if we were looking at it that way.
She would have been in the same position in the all-around standings if they were weighted versus unweighted. But she would have then been on the highest scoring team, which is the crux of the issue. She would have added 0.4 to the team score versus the gymnasts who were on the team based on her scores from nationals and trials. Basically what happened is because of compulsories, like compulsory bars is why she didn't have the scores to make the team as an all-arounder, but it's a routine you never would have counted from her, basically.
Yeah.
So you were left off a team for a routine that wouldn't have mattered. It's like now if you were leaving Joss Robertson off of a team because of her bars. It's like, well, okay, why are you even taking her bars into account? Because you're not going to use that routine.
Right. And I feel like you can think about this as like, I mean, it's also, you have to look at how the annoying Olympic selection procedure, which has to be validated and signed by the, you know, U.S. Olympic Committee and all of that stuff. Like you have to take all of that into account. But this is why you should go by the highest scoring team and not by individual rank, because how you win an Olympics or how you win a medal in Olympics is not based on all the people you pick on the team. Who has the
best 5th place all-arounder in the country.
Right. Yeah. It's based on combining the highest scores on each event from your team. So ultimately, this 88 team, as we know, would lose by 0.2 to East Germany and get a 0.5 deduction for having a gymnast on the podium during bars. So you can say, like, hypothetically, if Kristie Phillips had been on the team and she competed and they had this extra 0.4 to the team total, even though they got the 0.5 podium deduction and they lost East Germany by 0.2, if they'd have that extra, you know,
theoretically you can go there. It's different competitions, different judges, all of that. It was the 80s, but theoretically you could go there. Theoretically,
it might have made a difference. I just think I remember watching this and just thinking, they're right. She just doesn't look good. I guess she doesn't look as good as everybody else. And now watching it as an adult, I'm like, oh my God, her routines are great. She's great. And I think about why there's a whole generation of us who grew up so angry at NBC because of the way that, and it was ABC back then, how they framed and put down the gymnasts. And how we have and some people might say that there's an overreaction in the way, I think how some commentators comment now that they don't talk enough about the deductions and they don't talk enough about it's too positive. But for me, I'm I'd rather err on the side of too positive and use critical thinking than then talk about people that way and have it influence you.
I think it's a very interesting idea of because we've talked before about like the rose-colored glasses that we'll use to look at previous eras where we're like, weren't the dance elements so beautiful? And then you watch them and you're like, oh no, they were not.
No, it's a split.
No, but also I
Olympics.
think we have impressions of things like in gymnasts and their performances based on the way it was commented on, talked about in the wider press that are completely different than reality. I feel like that during COVID, when I was looking at like Olympic beam champions and various Olympic event finals, like Olga Korbut in 1976, because she was like 1972, Olga Korbut. She competed at the Olympics in 1976, and the commentary about it was very much like, well, she's an old bag now. Yeah, she's ruined. She's horrible. She's like, her hair isn't even well done anymore. Like that's really actually like was
that's
part of the commentary. And then you watch it and you're like, oh my God, she's like, amazing.
Yeah.
She's the only reason she didn't win the Olympic beam gold in 1976 is because Nadia showed up and was like, I am the revolution of this sport. But otherwise it was like, yeah, Olga Korbut was amazing at the 1976 Olympics. It was not like she's lost it.
Yeah. So I would say if you loved Kristie Phillips then and you've watched her gymnastics since, like go back and watch those routines because they're so impressive, especially her floor, her full in, that piked full in, and it's all laid out and like, gosh, it's so good. And her dance quality, you guys, I could just watch her all day. And what's amazing to me is that she is such a positive person that's so full of energy. We also have a full commission on Spitfire, which she did an interview for. So we have comments from her in Spitfire, but she's just such a like positive, happy person. So I'm just glad that it turned out. I mean, she went to New York. I mean, she got like a cheerleading scholarship. Then she went to New York and acted and was in a bunch of stuff and did all those, like her, I feel like legacy in the sport is so much more than what happened to her in these competitions and how she was treated in media and by USAG back then. So good for her, Kristie Phillips.
Do you feel like there are other gymnasts you can think of where you have gone back later and you're like, she was so much better than I ever thought, or so much better than I ever gave her credit for at the time because of, you know, preferences, type of gymnast, commentary, any of those things? Because I feel like there are probably a ton of examples of that where you go back and watch competitions and you completely change your mind. But I wanted to know if there was anything.
I mean, Vanessa Atler, when I go back, like I liked her, but it was also the era when I don't think I had a TV. It's that part of the show where I talk about when I didn't have a TV. So I was like, oh, she's impressive. But when I go back and watch her now, I'm like, my God, she was so good. Where there's a lot of other people that I go back and watch and I'm like, oh my God, your form is terrible. And how did all the discs in your back not shoot out on every landing because your nose was right next to your knees? Who let you do these tumbling passes? And no wonder everyone's back were fractured when they went into these Olympics. I find it's more the reverse where like there are less people that I go back and I'm like, oh my God, they're amazing. And there's more that I go back and like, in my mind, they were perfect, but actually they never actually did a full split and a single leap the entire Olympics. How was this?
Yeah. For me, I think some of the things I've noticed is like just general taste changing, especially about floor and floor performance, where you're like, what is this weird, dumb routine that they're doing? And now you watch it and I'm like, oh, this is avant-garde insanity. This is nonsense beauty, and I want you to continue being exactly this weird for the entire history of time. Like that's something I've noticed where I'm like, oh, I hated this stupid weird Romanian floor routine from 1986, and now I'm like, oh, this was bonkers. Yes, sign me up.
I remember feeling like that about Boganskaya's. Which one was it? The guitar playing routine or the avant-garde weird one?
I mean, you'll need to be more specific by weird one.
Yeah, but I remember the one where she starts out with the jump that looks all that's kind of
it's
like
the angular like arms akimbo. Yeah.
I remember it must be the Barcelona one that I was like, ugh, I don't like this. Like it's so even then I felt like it was pandering.
Yeah.
kind of. And I never liked the pandering routines. Like even the Mochiana Devil Went Down to Georgia routine, I was like, oh my God. But I did love her front handspring straddle through to Shushanova. That was so cool. That's the only thing. Anything that was like cutesy dance, ugh. I hated it when I was a kid. I hated it in middle school. I hate it now. I hate it. Yeah.
I think I have increasingly gone against Mochianu's 1996 floor routine over time because of the realization of like, oh, you are having, 14-year-old act like a 3-year-old.
Right.
Like, pounding the ground, like have baby tantrum. I'm like, oh, this is gross. And I didn't like, that was not even remotely the thought at the time. But now I'm like, oh, ugh. I don't like this.
I wonder when that, I don't know. I guess that's always been the way is like, there's someone who's like an art history major and sociology person degree will be like, there's always been the angel and the devil perception of women. Either you're the housewife or you're, a streetwalker, as they would say back in the day. Like, there's no nuance in women. It's mother or devil, But I think about the Olga Korbut comments and I think about how they did her hair, because I'm sure it wasn't her idea as a 20-year-old to do her hair in those little pigtails with yarn. But when her second Olympics, they tried to make her do all her routines and do her hair exactly the way that she was when in her first Olympics, and she was a grown-up then. It was like a icky to watch how they tried to style her to have people think she was the same person. And of course she's not. And that gets into how, like, part of when I was younger, I thought, oh, they should never change the age for the Olympics. That's the worst thing ever. And now I'm like, no one should have to go through puberty on TV in a leotard. You know, it's not
or
fair.
At all. It's
or
not
at
fair.
all. Yes. Get rid of child actors too. I just feel for them so much. And the way that I feel like they were pressured to continue to be like this innocent looking with their choreography, with their styling, all of that stuff. Speaking of which,
do you think that's still the case? Because I feel like there are examples where I'm like,
oh, totally.
This is weird.
Yeah. I think there's examples where that's been done to current gymnasts and they don't even know it. That they have been styled like a child and it doesn't even occur to them. Yeah. If you guys want to commission your own mini commission where you can make us talk about whatever you want for 15-ish minutes, you can do that at gymcastic.com. Hit the join the club tab. There's 3 different levels that you can join at, and you can dedicate an episode too. So if you want to ask someone to prom, a date, homecoming, married, or just like net chicks and Phil, Netflix and chill.
That is a term. Yeah.
You can do that too, or any non-romantic invitations or, dedications that you want to give too. If you just want to dedicate an episode to like, hallelujah, that XYZ has happened, you can do that as well. That's one of the levels. And there's a bunch of group commissions that you can join and buy a portion of as well. And all that money goes towards sustaining us here at GymCastic to do the reporting that we do. And also you guys get a bunch of discounts on merch, discounts and early access to live show tickets and stuff like that. So, and you get behind the scenes every week for an hour and a half. We just answer your questions, talk about whatever you want every Friday at noon, Pacific time. All right. We have some Gym for Net news. So we have some assignments.
Competitions this week. Some of our favorite competitions of the year, as we refer to them, the Swiss money meets, where you can like actually go and make some money, unlike the, FIG events. So the Arturo Gander Memorial is on November 1st. Really good field for that.
It's just the Arthur. It's not Arturo, but that's nice of you to call him that.
It is Arturo.
Why is it spelled Arthur?
Because you can also say Arthur.
There's no O on the end.
The website is the Arturo.
Do they say it? We're both Googling.
I'm like...
It's the Arthur Gander Memorial. The Memorial Gander. Arturo. Okay. It does say Arturo.
Sometimes they use Arturo. Sometimes they use Arturo.
Well, shouldn't it always be Arturo? Why are they taking the O off the end? That's a totally different word. It's much more fun with an O on the end. I am offended for Mr. Gander. We've discovered something new. Well, at least I did, because Spence already knew this.
Well, I don't know. We'll see. Let us know.
Because it's that Italian.
Did he go by? Yeah, did he go by?
Yeah, what did he go by?
Arthur or Arturo?
I mean, maybe because they have so many languages there, he went by them all, depending on which one he was. Yeah. Anyway,
you learn something new. All right.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's a great field at this competition, the Gander Memorial. Melanie is going to be there. Kaliya Namour, Paulina Schaefer. Great competition. And then the Swiss Cup is this weekend on Sunday. That's the one that Jade Carey is scheduled to compete at. We're still waiting on an athlete list, by the way, but that's the mixed pairs event.
I believe there were some other athletes who I heard were invited, but their federation didn't pass on. And I know this from talking to people with direct knowledge. Their federations didn't pass on the invitations to them.
Oh, fun.
So they could have gone and made this money, but their federations blocked them by not giving the information in time to plan and put it in their schedule. So more information coming on that later. Other news. The French Gymnastics Federation are accused of not doing enough over abuse allegations. So French Federation's been in the news. Most recently, they banned a coach, and they also blocked Kaliya Namour's coach from being a federation coach, meaning he couldn't come with her to coach at national team camps and assignments as well. So that is why one of the reasons she went to Algeria and is competing for them. So now this story comes from inside the games. The French Federation leaders are being accused of shirking responsibility as more abuse allegations emerge. So a sports ministry report came out in June and found that 6 former gymnasts alleged that the French Federation coaches repeatedly, verbally, psychologically, and physically abused them, including a minor being slapped during the 2008 Olympic Games in Beijing. French Gymnastics Federation President Lateau insists that he did not have the power to punish the coaches involved. Quote, "The coach is not an employee of the federation. He is an employee of the club, which itself is affiliated with the federation. But we have no control over his employment, neither over his recruitment nor over dismissing him. It is the president of the club, the employer, who decides. We are nothing at all in that." The French sports minister, Amelia Castera, responded, quote, "On the contrary, they have a range of weapons which allow them to take responsibilities. They have the capacity to sanction all of their licenses, whether they are recruited by clubs or other affiliated organizations." So, as predicted, this is all heated up in France, going forward, looking to Paris for France hosting the Olympics. Like, I'm expecting more of this. I'm also waiting for a story by Cécile Noni of L'Equipe to come out, because she is the expert on this and has been following this. I mean, she's been covering gymnastics for 30 years and has been following all of the abuse allegations and everything that happened with Namour, etc. And we've talked about what happened with Namour before, but I'll put the links to the stories about Namour's coaches and the federation and her deciding to switch to Algeria as well in the show notes. All right. That is going to do it for us this week. Thank you guys so much for your commissions. Thank you to all of our Club Gym Nerd members. We appreciate you guys so much. Remember, those are open. We have a few more coming up. Next week, we have a full commission. Someone bought all of the portions of a group commission for the 1990s movie The Perfect Body. So we're going to be covering that.
Aged phenomenally.
It'll be no problem. Not problematic at all, you guys. So we're looking forward to that. Commissions are very fun. There are always a lot of comedy. Can't wait to do that next week. So keep an eye out for that. We'll see you. Remember to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. And thank you again to all of our Club Gym Nerd members. Congratulations to our commission winner. Look for your email coming. And until Friday for Behind the Scenes at noon Pacific, we do this too. Take off on gay, split on rights, and we'll see you on Friday. Thanks for listening.
Do you want to know what goes on our extra podcast every week, or what some people call GymCastic OnlyFans? Here's a little teaser for you.
My sister and I went to dinner beforehand, and then we were going to see Haunting in Venice. After dinner, we were leaving the restaurant, walking to the theater, and I said to her, like, did our waiter seem like kind of mean? Like, did you think our waiter was really mean? And she looked at me and she goes, he was flirting with you the entire time. And my reaction to that, I knew you would enjoy this, because my reaction to that was, didn't he seem kind of mean? It was like, he seemed mean, right? That was mean?
Oh my God.
Like, no idea.
A whole chapter on sports bras. Yes. Don't even get me started on sports bras, you guys. I can't wait till we just have, literally, you can just have little robots that just hold your boobs up. So you don't have to feel like, no, I'm totally serious.
From the woman who hates the scans at airports, you want boob robots.
Yes.
If you like what you heard, get more by joining Club Gym Nerd at GymCastic.com.
Oops.
I think it's a solid start.